And now, get ready.
Keep up with Femi D Live for live updates on Twitter at Femi D Live, on Facebook at Femi D Live, Instagram at Femi D Live. All major platforms you would find Femi D Live. Send your messages and email femid@live.com to keep the conversation going even now.
A great talk show unravels your thinking, makes you stop to listen, engages you in a debate of opinions.
I believe this man knows what he is doing. He is a Nigerian.
And ultimately brings you to the king of talk radio, Femi D Live. This is Femi D Live.
Thanks for taking your time to join us this very evening. Welcome to the show. This is Femidlive Live. And of course, there's room for debate. There's always a good time to talk about any news that is going on in the country. There's always something so much force when it comes to news in the country. The news that takes you apart and builds up some sort of information. Just when you think you know what has gone wrong or gone right, you're just missing out on the news, because truly, nothing breaks the news like the news. Welcome to the show. I'm Femi D Amele. Now, tonight on the show, it's become quite important to understand if accusations and counter-accusations, as we know it, if it's some form of way of building governance. I ask you, with counter-accusations and accusations here and there, is it helping our democracy? Does it help governors to have a day in the nearest future and essentially look at how things possibly could go wrong? Let me give you the case studies we'll be looking at tonight on the show. There's a case of the All Progressive Congress, where you have the Deputy National Publicity Secretary, Timmy Frank, coming out to say there's a crisis in the All Progressive Congress, while the Speaker, who is also a member of the All Progressive Congress, also says, wait, it's not a crisis, it's just politics that is taking its own form and due time out there. That's one case. Second case, not to miss out on. Few days ago, I did scan through 35 pages of what Justin Adeni Ademola had to say regarding why he was arrested, why he thinks he was arrested, and all the other details. Like they say, the devil is in the detail. But this time in politics, sometimes it's the details that actually carry much of the devil around. Forgive me for changing that around, but it appears that's the situation. So Justice Ademola versus Malami, who is the Minister of Justice, and so many other factors in between. Also today, you have Justice Okoro sitting up to talk about the former governor of Rivers State, Rotimi Amechi. That's another case study. Wait, hold on for a moment. I'm not done. There are many other case studies you can start to mention. But then, accusations and counter-accusations, do they really help ferment democracy? Forgive me, I'm using the word ferment. Wine ferments. Palm wine ferments. Everything takes its due time. And some say sometimes old wine gets better. But I'm asking you tonight, will the democratic nature of Nigeria get better as counter-accusations and accusations continue to take much of the day? If it's not something being said about the president, is the president saying something about some people, or people on his behalf saying something about other people? Will this help democracy take its form and take its essential place? Tonight, I'll lead you through the science of politics, best known to people around the world as game theory. Welcome to the show. It's a good time to get started. Let's get started now.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. More next. The Evening Experience. Your show. With Femi D.
This is Femi D Live.
All right, there. I'm glad you took your time to join us this evening. It's 5:06 p.m. So I'll be leading you through this conversation this evening, and there's a lot to cover. Let's start off with the science of politics. Now, the science of politics, in its sense, some will wonder, is there any form of science? I thought politics is some form of social science in its own right. Trust me, if you study science long enough and you study politics long enough, you would come to see there are a lot of similarities in the way the two operate. Now, peradventure, you understand that the science to politics, you would comfortably come to know that, wait, the science of politics in its own nature has a way you calculate. The same way hydrogen combines with oxygen and you could provide water at the end of the result is the same way hydrogen combines with oxygen and you could have hydrogen peroxide at the end of the day. Now, that's interesting. Choose the same elements, but two different results. Now, interesting and of good point would be this, that in politics, different factors combine to give you different results. And sometimes, when it looks like the same factors are on, it gives you another result. Let me give you a very lame example. When one person leaves one party to join another party, supposedly, what it's telling you is that I belong to this new party. I understand the philosophy of this new party. In this party, there's no corruption. In this party, there's a way the law operates and there's a way we believe in the way things do go. So I'm joining this party. It's an element that was in one party that's joined into another party. Don't get bored. Stay with me. I will explain this through to you. Now, having combined all this, so if one thing stays constant, the political characters we have in Nigeria essentially remain the same. They do not change. They do not go on holiday. They stay on with loyalty. They stay on with subscribing to some ideas and believing in what they do believe, whether it's day or night or day, or even any of the other weathers. Trust me, in politics, it doesn't necessarily have to be day or night. There are other times that you just wonder, where exactly are we right now? In game theory, which used to be something used essentially in science and so many other aspects, it's about the study of strategic interactions. Whenever choices have to be made between two or more individuals who have an effect on each other with something to gain or something to lose. That's game theory now, almost like a game. Oh yes, black man playing chess, white man playing chess. You're on the black part of the chessboard, you're on the white part of the chessboard. And then you have, whether you're even playing Ludo or draft, everybody has something they are trying to fight for, either to gain or to lose. Now, game theory can be applied in a wide variety of political settings. For instance, in an election, in policy platforms, when candidates have to make a choice between what they believe about war, peace, decisions, funding, and the rest of it. Now, that would have to be some of the things that, in the most simple way, define what you call game theory. Game theory, of all the African countries we do have, I can almost confidently tell you it applies effectively in Nigeria. There's something to gain. There's something to lose. Somebody's either thinking to the left or somebody's thinking to the right. It's like dragging a rope. Somebody wants to go left, somebody wants to go right. Oh, the APC wants to go left, the PDP wants to go right. Oh, wait, let's even bring it on. The APC, people within the APC say, I want to go left. Some others say they want to go right. The PDP also comes into play here. You have the party members or people within the hierarchy of the party in the PDP as well who say, I want to go left. The other ones say, I want to go right. And then you have some level of agitation. And if game theory in producing certain results do not come out as expected, it will lead you into another theory, which this day I've come to apply to politics, known as chaos theory. Forgive me for the political class I'm taking you through. But it's just of good interest that you also know that if there's ever a case study to wonder about why we act the way we do when it comes to politics, is this same reason. Game theory, chaos theory, and the likes of the other theories that possibly put an idea of where we're going in the country and how things are played out so far. So, having analyzed the theories, let me take you through this. Few weeks ago, it started out as a slight confrontation between Asiwaju Ahmed Bola Tinubu and Chief Oyeko regarding the Odo elections. And then people said, well, are they supposed to come out in the media to say much of how much of what they have going on within them, within the party? And then there was the Deputy National Publicity Secretary, Timmy Frank, also did say, I am banking Asiwaju Bola Tinubu on this, saying essentially to a large extent, guys, I really think Alhaji Tinubu is right and Chief Oyeko is right and the other is wrong. And by the way, if people by any chance are supporters of Chief Oyeko, they would also say to you, oh, Chief Oyeko is right and Asiwaju Bola Tinubu's team is wrong. Let me give you an example of what happens in game theory right now. You have some people say yes, some people say no. Who does it help? Or wait, let me say the pigeon way. Who help at the end of the day? Confrontations and accusations and counter accusations. Hold on for a moment. Let me bring you what the latest is as regards the All Progressive Congress, because I know the PDP team as well are having their own measure of crisis in that regard. Here's what Timmy Frank said earlier today in the conversation on television.
We're in a better state today, truly, to support the president in the fight against corruption. So far, so good. I can tell you the president means very well, very, very well, in this fight against corruption. But you can only support the president, when the party is speaking in one voice. Because as of today, I can tell you clearly, because of the internal wrangling, the party is not even, doing any effort because we don't have a competent leadership, that could stand and, support the present idea on the fight against corruption. So it's a very, very big problem. Until, we put our house together, then I can tell you clearly, or we have a competent national chairman that can, put everybody together, then I can tell you as a party we should be able to support the president, in the fight against corruption. But as of today, I can tell you clearly, as a party, we are not doing anything. That is just grammar that they are trying to, convince the public with. So far as I'm concerned, until we accept that there is crisis, we cannot resolve these internal issues we're talking about. There is crisis. We cannot deny that there is no crisis. There is a very big crisis. Let me give you an example. You saw recently how the Ondo State's saga came about. You saw one of the founding fathers of this party, the national leader of this party, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, that came up with a very powerful letter accusing the national chairman of this party of corruption, accusing him of incompetency, accusing him of one-sidedness, and so forth. So that's example alone. Is that not enough as a party to accept that there is crisis? Because if at that level, somebody like Bola Ahmed Tinubu, that is well respected in this party, that is a founding father, could come up clearly without fear or favor, accusing, this is the first time, I've not seen it anywhere, where somebody like that could come up to say the chairman of the party is not competent. He accused him of corruption. He accused so many allegations. So that example alone, till today, go to Ondo states. They are still protesting the emergence of the APC governorship candidates.
And that was the Deputy National Publicity Secretary, Timmy Frank, who, by the way, some say his motive for saying this much of what he has said is essentially because he wants to take up the position of National Publicity Secretary of the party, which was a position occupied by the former National Publicity Secretary, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, who is now the Minister of Information. Responding to what would be a crisis or no crisis would be what the Speaker of the House of Representatives did say. Yakubu Dogara had his own idea of what the crisis within the party can be, should be, or is not, essentially.
It's politics. And as politicians, we just have to manage it. We will never run into a situation where we have everything perfectly fitted. It will never happen. But it is through the clash and compromises of ideas like this, through maybe events that we consider as crisis, that may lead us to the attainment of the truth, no matter how imperfectly. But we will have to rise above all these crises, put the interests of the nation first, and then we can deliver. On the part of the legislature, we thank God that we maintain a comfortable majority in the House of Representatives. We intend to use that to the maximum benefit of our party. We are prepared to cooperate with the executive, but we will not compromise the independence of the legislature.
Then you have another definition of what one would call a crisis. It's not crisis, it's politics. So somewhere within there, he says, hey, it's politics and not crisis. But at the end, he also mentioned that, hey, we would not intend to compromise our stand for the executive. We will stand independent as the legislature. Of course, many of you do know a lot of the legislators, one way or the other, have reasons to answer or not answer the issue going on with the legislators as the executive continue to prune and create a purge system, purging everybody if there is, from the judiciary to the legislative. Let's go now to the judiciary now. Earlier on, late into yesterday evening, the man you know as Honorable Justice John Iyan Okoro, yes, one of the accused judges that was arrested like 2 weekends ago now, did write his own 4-page letter. And 2 days ago, I shared with you what Justice Ademola did say about why he thinks he was arrested and how the arrest was done. Let's follow the account of Honorable Justice John Iyan Okoro. I do have the letter of what he said exactly. Stay with me. I'll read this to you. 4 pages now. It says, invasion of my official residence by operatives of the Department of State Security Service. That's how the letter starts off, and that's the title now. Okay, so on Friday, the 7th day of October 2016, at about 9 p.m., I received a phone call from an unfamiliar caller. He introduced himself as an official from the presidency. He told me he had a letter from me from the president. I immediately left my study room and went to open the door. Upon the door being opened, I saw so many heavily armed men with an inscription DSS on their uniforms. One of them, who was in Mufti, told me that they were here to search my house. I requested to be allowed to inform the Chief Justice of Nigeria, but they rebuffed. Rather, they seized my phone from me. My lord, the operatives of the Department of State Security searched all the rooms in the house meticulously. They also said the boys' quarters and my official vehicles parked outside. And at the end of the search, which lasted till about 1:30 a.m. of the 8th of October 2016, they took away the following items. 1 iPad. Number 2 now, 3 phones, only 1 active. 3, $38,800. Number 4, 3,500,000 naira only. Number 5, a checkbook. It goes on to say. The above items were documented on the back page of the search warrant they produced and we signed. Also, the DSF operatives informed me that their Director General wanted to see me that night. I requested to visit their office upon the break of the day, but they refused. In view of the presence of the heavily armed men who accompanied them, who were pointing their gun at me from all angles, I had no choice than to follow them to the office that night. I was detained by them in their office till Sunday night of October 2016. And upon your lordship's intervention, that Sunday, they released me in the evening of that Sunday. My lord, I noticed that they also brought other judicial officers, serving and retired, to their office. So before releasing us, they asked me to make a statement concerning the money found in my house. I told them, having received the sum of $24,000 and £10,000 a year for the past 3 years of my sojourn at the court as annual medical and vacation allowance, and having not spent more than £5,000 on each trips I have so far made abroad, I was entitled to have more than the amount recovered from me. Put differently, my lord, the money was the balance of my Esther code received from this court for the past 3 years. This is quite outside the Esther codes I have received for the international conference I have so attended since joining the bench of this court. My Lord, as at the time of writing this report, the DSS has not confronted me with any petition or complaint from any quarters whatsoever. Rather, they have grilled me, asking questions on some non-existing properties around the country. They have also doubted the age of my children, alleging that they are toddlers. This is sad and unbelievable. My Lord, I strongly believe that this my travail is not unconnected with the verbal report I made to you on the 1st of February 2016 about the visit to my official residence by His Excellency Rotimi Amechi, the former governor of Rivers State, and now the Minister of Transport. In fact, in that report I told you, my Lord, that Mr. Amechi said the President of Nigeria and the All Progressive Congress mandated him to inform me that they must win their election appeals in respect of Rivers State, Akwa Ibom State, and Abia State at all cost. For Akwa Ibom State, he alleged that he sponsored Mr. Umana, candidate of the All Progressive Congress for that election, and that if he lost Akwa Ibom appeal, he would have lost a fortune. Mr. Amechi also said that he had already visited you and that you have agreed to make me a member of that panel that will hear the appeals. He further told me that Mr. Umana would be paying me millions of naira monthly if I cooperated with them. My response, as I told you, on that day was that it does not lie within my power to grant his request, and that I would do all within my power not to be in the panel for the Akwa Ibom State. My Lord graciously left me out of the panel for the Akwa Ibom State. That notwithstanding, the All Progressive Congress in Akwa Ibom State, which lost the appeal at the Supreme Court, believed that my presence in the Supreme Court made them to lose the appeal. Could I have resigned from the Supreme Court simply because people of Akwa Ibom State had a matter before it? My Lord will recall that I also reported that Mr. Umana visited my residence before I made his visit. He also made the same request of assistance to win his appeal at the Supreme Court. Mr. Umana talked about seeing the justices who would hear the appeal. Pastor Dr. Ebeb Upong, who led Mr. Umana to my house, intercepted and said that the issue of seeing the justices was not part of their visit, and that as a pastor, it would not be part of such a discussion. Mr. Umana apologized. I advised him to go and pray about the matter and get a good lawyer, and that was how they left my house. My Lord, up till now, I do not know what I have done. Over the years, from the magistracy to date, I've done my best to ensure all forms of corrupt practices are out. I've not received any bribe from anybody. My Lord is quite aware of my position as regards those who take bribe in the judiciary. I detest it and have no room for any adjustment. That is the truth. I urge you, my Lord, and the National Judicial Council to disregard all the lies and media campaign orchestrated by those who felt I purposely refused to help them win their election appeals in the Supreme Court. I'm confident that God will vindicate me at the end of this ordeal. I take it as a temporary setback. I remain loyal to my oath of office and the need to be just and fair in handling all matters before me. My Lord, thanks for your kind attention. Please accept my assurances of the highest regard. Honorable Justice John Inyang Okoro, Justice, Supreme Court. Now, having said this, it started off another sense of accusation and counter-accusation, as one may easily put it. And I will quickly say to you, earlier on today, there was a statement released on behalf of the Honorable Minister of Transport now, Rotimi Amechi, in this regard. Much of it talked about the fact that the claims by Justice Okoro against Amechi are blatant lies, and there's no iota of truth or even logic in it. It also says that Justice Okoro, in respect of the case Okoro mentioned or any other case, this is a cheap attempt and a political move to drag the name of Amechi into something he knows nothing about. That's one way to go about it. But this evening, as I speak to you, I can also share with you that the Minister of Transportation and former Rivers State Governor, Right Honorable Chibuke Rotimi Amechi, has said he will take steps to seek legal redress over bribery allegation against him by embattled Supreme Court Justice John Inyang Okoro. This, he said, that he had never met with Okoro to discuss anything pending at the Supreme Court of Nigeria, saying the only time he met with Chief Justice of Nigeria, Honorable Justice Mahmood Mohammed, was during the commissioning of the Abuja-Kaduna Railway Project on July 26, 2016 at Idu in Abuja. Amechi, in a statement he personally signed, went on to say, in protocol, he went on to say that his lawyers will contact Okoro and take whatever legal steps as may be necessary to clear his name from the baseless allegation. Let me quote a little bit of what he said. He said, "My attention has been drawn to a letter purportedly written by Honorable Justice Inyang Okoro, JSC, Justice of the Supreme Court, one of the land justices recently arrested by the Department of State Services as part of its investigation into the allegation of massive corruption involving some officers of the Nigerian judiciary. Given the level of mischief in the social media, I would ordinarily have ignored the letter because the allegations contained in the said letter are wide, baseless, and unrelated to the issues in contention between the Honorable Justice of the Supreme Court and the Department of State Services to that extent. I have grave reservations if this letter could have emanated from His Lordship. However, for the avoidance of doubt, let me say clearly, they have never disclosed any matter pending before the Supreme Court of Nigeria with my Lord, Honorable Justice Inyang Okoro, in his house or anywhere else, period. I make bold to also state that the first and only time I've ever spoken with the Chief Justice of Nigeria, the Honorable Justice Mohammed GCON, was at the commissioning of the Abuja-Kaduna Railway Project on the 26th of July 2016. This letter by the Honorable Justice Okoro is a poor attempt to politicize what is clearly a serious national tragedy and shame. I believe that the issue of corruption at the highest levels of our judiciary should be addressed objectively. It is, to say the least, demeaning the childish of a justice, the childish of a justice of the Supreme Court to imply that the security operatives of our nation will arrest a justice of our Supreme Court for no reason other than the instructions of a minister. Those faced with serious allegations should treat the issue with the seriousness it deserves and stop trying to court public sympathy and trivialize what is clearly a national tragedy. I've directed my lawyers to contact my Lord Justice Okoro and take whatever legal steps as may be necessary to clear my name of this baseless allegation. Finally, let me advise His Lordship, Justice Inyang Okoro, to be objective in dealing with the issue at hand and not whip up unnecessary sentiments against the innocent public officers. I remain focused on my assignment at the Federal Ministry of Transportation and I have no control over the Department of State Services. And that letter was signed by the Minister of Transportation, Rotimi Amechi, who was the former governor of Rivers State. Has spoken a lot. We started off from talking about game theory, and now we have arrived at the point where one could almost conveniently say, that we've moved from game theory into chaos theory. What do you feel about crisis, accusations, and counter-accusations? Do they help governors to move forward? Do they really tell you a little bit about the fact there's no food on your table? Do they move the discussions a little bit forward? Oh yes, from within the PDP to also within the APC, and now to judges versus ministers. Remember, there are 7 judges. 2 of them have written out their statements. I understand there's another one that has been written out as well. So, at this point in time, it appears for the last 12 months of our existence in terms of this administration now, we've visited accusations and counter-accusations. But then the needful question would be, how? Let me go the pigeon way now. Does it help Nigerians? What difference does it make? Does it make a difference to you? That what would have been a normal corruption case of corruption and anti-corruption fight, of you took, I didn't take, of a yes and a no, of a yeah and a nay, and every other symbol or difference of ideas, difference of what happened is coming out to the open. Does it mean accusations and counter-accusations have a way of helping governance improve? Stay with me right here. Unless this evening, as we take this discussion further on Room for Debate, I'm glad you're with me. Thank you for staying with me. This is Femi D Live, and I'll be back after the break.
This is Femi D Live.
Nothing breaks the news like the news. Trust me, I can prove it. I'm ready. Let's take on the biggest debates on radio, provide insights, experience, and build an unforgettable discussion together. I am Femi D Amele. Let's talk with Femi D Live is on.
A day in politics is a year, but then who cares? Oh, you should care. It's not just about what was said or what happened, where, when, how, who knows where. Next, let's understand the story that changes our lives every single day. Join me every day for politics and current affairs more than ever before. I'm Femi D.
And now, get ready.
Keep up with Femi D Live for live updates on Twitter at Femi D Live, on Facebook at Femi D Live, Instagram at Femi D Live. All major platforms you would find Femi D Live. Send your messages and email femid@live.com to keep the conversation going even now.